In the house, they could prepare either meat or chicken, but I would be served with greens.
Really?
Yes. My mom was so harsh on me. I could always just speak to Dad. That's where I found my solace. So when Dad died, I was lost. I stayed 4 years volunteering, no job. You know the way the media market things are.
Yes.
But I thank God, I cannot say I wasted my time. I learned a lot of skills. That's where I learned how to edit stories. I learned how to do scripting. I learned how to produce documentaries and do proposals. I remember the first documentary that I did that paid about 350,000. That one to me was a breakthrough.
Wow.
My pastor will give out the offering for me to go pay rent. He'll talk to the church board. They'll give me that money, I go pay the church. That's why if somebody tells me I'm wasting time in church, ujui.
Pearl Radio, the home of fresh and classic hits.
Karibu sana to Pearl Radio.
Thank you so much.
And we can't wait to hear your wonderful testimony this evening.
Amen.
But even as we start from that point, maybe you can introduce yourself. Who is Winnie Miseda? Is that your name, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Winnie Miseda. Born again, a child of God, a servant of God. Born and raised in Muhoroni. I come from Bondo, that is our home. Firstborn in a family of 3.
You're the firstborn?
I'm the firstborn. We are 3 girls. My second-born sister is called Sheila Miseda.
Yes.
Or Mrs. Timbwa, that's how she's known. Last-born sister is Beryl Miseda. And my mom is in Bondo, she's called Pamela Ogutu Mulama. Winnie is a HR by profession. Shifted from media to HR. That transition, it's only God who understands.
I know one thing about transition.
Yes.
When God says go like this,
You have
it doesn't matter if you had experience or
no
not.
option. So I fellowship at Peniel Pentecostal Church in Molem, that is in Dandora, under Bishop Obed, a very great man of God that I uphold. And in Mombasa, I used to fellowship at Free Pentecost, FPFK, under Reverend Wilson Kalume.
Yes.
So when I moved to Nairobi during my transfer, I found myself in Peniel, and that has been my home for the last, now this is my 3rd year in Nairobi. 1.5 years I've been at home, Peniel. Winnie is a HR by profession currently. I'm at Knit World Services, where we deal with garbage and waste management. We do quite a lot of things. And Winnie is a servant of God. That's all I can say.
Awesome. That is the best way to introduce yourself.
Yes.
And getting to know you a little bit better, because you said unatoka upande wa Bondo.
Yes.
Ni Bondo. You know, people from this other side, they might have an issue pronouncing it's Bondo.
Bondo. No, that accent. Bondo. Yes.
Okay. So how was life being your upbringing? Maybe you can just explain to us your upbringing, going to school. And you mentioned about your mom, but you have not mentioned about your dad. Maybe you can just talk to us about it.
Born and bred in Muhoroni. That is in Kisumu County. I went to school in Muhoroni Success. It's a non-school. We lived in the quarters where my mom used to work. That is called Nyayo. You know, when you say Nyayo, people relate it to the late President Moi. Whereas in that quarters, mom worked at Muhoroni Sub-District Hospital. My dad, yes, he was around until when I was going to class 4. He disappeared because he lost his job.
Really?
Yes.
How old were you?
I was in class 4. That is about how old?
Yani, just because he lost his job?
Yeah. He disappeared. So it was mom taking care of us. And here, you know, civil service, by then, they didn't get good money.
So your dad was the sole breadwinner?
He wasn't. Mom was also at the same time. But when dad disappeared, now mom had to take it up.
Yes.
So mom said, okay, fine, things have happened. You guys will continue going to this private school, because Moroni Success was a high-cost school.
Yes.
We went through. I remember when I was sitting for my class 8 exam, I didn't have uniform. And our school, you know, the prestigious school, the way it was, you cannot put on a tattered uniform.
Yes.
So my mom had to borrow a friend of hers, whose daughter we were in the same class, to just help me one pair of uniform. I pushed through until after class 8. And this mama did, she was called Mama Njeri, that's how I know up to date. Mama Njeri gave me uniform, and that's how I cleared. Dad came back when I was joining Form 2. A neighbor of ours who used to work with the railway station,
Yes.
called. Those days there used to be this telephone booth, called in the hospital and said he spotted my dad in Naivasha club. So mom informed my uncles, now my dad's side, and they tasked her to go check on him, and he found him was very much okay.
Really?
Dad was very much okay. Yes,
He was not even concerned about you guys?
he was very much okay. He was at peace. And now me being a daddy's girl, there are a lot of issues. So he came back, he didn't stay with us, he moved back to the village. When he went back to the village, he gave his life to Christ, and now he became a church leader or elder. There's a way the SCK put their things, the structure. And that's how now he went through, he became good. But see, things had happened. We were used to that struggles now with mom. And when I was going to Form 2, I dropped out of school in that time because there was no school fees.
So that was not helping you guys?
No, because he wasn't working. He was just in the village tending to the local farms in the village. It was mom all through. So I had to drop in because me and my sister, we follow each other, as in we were that close. When I'm in Form 2, she was in Form 1.
Yes.
So you see, Form 1, there's a way that you have to clear your school fees.
True.
Form 2, at least there's that system you've already learned. You can speak to the teachers, the bazaar, they can handle you. But now third term, I had to drop out.
Yes.
I stayed Form 2 third term, Form 3 first term, second term. Again, I dropped. When I joined, there was no money again. I had to stay at home. Came back to Form 3 towards the end of the syllabus, of the closing term. So I went through, I just performed well, and my teachers decided I can proceed to 4th form. So I go to Form 4, I clear my school, I can't go to the university. Then I applied to KMC. I missed joining Masen University with some marks. I wanted to study mass media. That was my in thing by then. It was either mass media or catering because I love cooking. So when I missed, I had to stay at home. But mom and dad, they had a discussion. Mom wanted me to be a teacher. Dad wanted me to be either a doctor or a clinical officer because that was the thing in our family. Both sides, my mom's side and my dad's side. But I told them, hey, I cannot be any of this. I want to be in the media. And I was told, Kanyumbani.
Well, because you decided to.
Yes.
So you wanted to pursue media.
Exactly.
Like you wanted to be a presenter, a TV host, or you just wanted to pursue media?
A TV host and writing. I love writing.
Okay.
Yes. So when they told me to stay at home, I said, okay, fine. I stayed at home 2 good years. My younger sister came, she went to college before me. I was just at home.
So for these 2 years, what were you doing and how were you surviving?
I was selling mandazis, chapatis.
Really?
Popcorn, yes. That's when I knew how to make even samosas and bake cake. We used to sell within the quarters and the shop. We go to the local shops, I sell. Every Friday I could go back to the shop and do my collection. But in the quarters it was a daily thing because I could sell to the staff, my mom's staff. I go pick. In the afternoon I go to town, do my shopping again for the next day. But I used to save at least 150 shillings. Mom introduced me to a chama. That's why I'm so much into chamas empowerment.
Yes.
She introduced me to chamas. I used to pay, and that is the money that I went to college.
So for 2 good years you are saving.
Yes, and I was just at home. So one day I see an advert for Mombasa Polytechnic on journalism and media. I decide to apply without informing anyone.
Because first of all, they didn't even approve you going
not.
for media.
They did not.
Yeah.
They didn't want that. So I stayed. I was like, hey, these guys are not responding. 3 months down the line, there's nothing. Then one day, one of my mom's colleague, he was a lab tech. He calls me and says, hey, Winnie, there's a letter, because I use the post office, the hospital. Says, we have a letter for you. And I was like, a letter? When I opened it, I saw Mombasa Polytechnic admission, mass communication. I was overjoyed.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Now, I've joined college. Everything is okay. First, I used to stay with my stepbrother. Actually, the way things happened was when I left Muhoroni, going to Mombasa, I was handed over to my stepbrother. He didn't come to pick me at the bus station.
Really?
Yes. So I had to stay until about 9 a.m. The only
So
thing
your
I knew-
stepbrother was staying
in Mombasa.
in Mombasa.
Yes. The only thing I knew was that he lives in a place called Mtwapa. So I decided to ask for a vehicle that goes to Mtwapa. I bought. I drop at Mtwapa GPO. Then the thing that I knew is that he stayed next to the chief's place. So I asked an old woman where the chief's place is, and she took me. So when I got in there, because he was known, I mentioned I'm looking for my brother, and they took me and said, we know him, the one who works at Voyager. Then it was okay. Then I went and I just found him in the house with his wife. You know, being a babe, because I was naive by then, I still could not read the mood, what was happening.
So he did this intentionally.
I can't tell.
Is it that he escaped his mind ama ni alifanya tu hivyo?
Even the welcoming was not that pleasant. You can just tell.
Yeah.
So I come in and I tell him, okay, fine, tomorrow I'm supposed to register in school. He didn't take me. I had to go by myself. I did the process by myself. Then there's a lady that I met. She was also registering. She helped me, and she took me to the HOD for sciences, the one that is a brother to my mom's colleague who had been briefed on my case. Because I remember when I went to college, I had only 1,500 shillings that I had saved. And that's how I got admitted. Until the way I cleared my studies, I can't tell today. That's why I say my life revolves around God. Because I was there for close to 1 year. I left without any balance. And now came the time of internship. My brother and the wife decided to send me out.
So at this time that you are schooling,
Yes.
you were staying with your stepbrother.
Yes, and it was chaotic.
So talk to us. You mentioned about chaotic, but what are some of the things you experienced in that place?
Oh my. I could get home in the evening. There's no food. The wife will tell you, we guys have eaten. Take that 10 shillings, you go buy greens. And the way we people have been raised up as a family, in fact, even to date, I don't know how to eat alone.
Yeah.
We were in that fellowship, unity.
Yes.
When it comes to eating, sitting together, that bond, it was never there. So I started getting withdrawn because I cannot sit with them. If you come in, because my classes used to end at about 8. When I get home, I find my brother has gone for work. It's only the wife. She will not open because they're living in separate rooms. Where I used to sleep was opposite to theirs. So me, I'll just access the room and I sleep. She's already asleep. The next time I'll see them is in the morning before I go to class. So it became that it was difficult. I tried telling my mom and she'll tell me, persevere. I tell my dad and they say, persevere. So
let me understand.
Yes.
This stepbrother, is his stepbrother from your dad or from your mom?
From my dad.
From your dad.
Yes.
So your dad remarried or had
My
married?
dad had 2 wives.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, now I get it.
Yes.
So that's why this young man was mistreating you.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it was that chaotic.
And so this one now continued for until you completed college.
Now, I stayed there for 2 semesters. Then it got worse because I couldn't even go for internship or even go to see friends. There used to be that restriction. You are not at peace. Every day was a crying moment for me. So when I decided I have to go home during the holidays, and now I had to lie to them that I'm going for attachment, that the school decided any break you have to go for practicals. So even the university, they gave me, the campus that time, they gave me a letter so that I could go for the practical sessions. So when I went home, my brother's wife sent a letter to my mom saying how I was a burden. It was well scripted.
What?
How I was a burden to them. The soap that I used to use, the kind of foods, I was an extra baggage to them. So I'm not supposed to return. I look for a place to stay.
So this is after your second?
Yes, second semester. So my mom says, it's okay. Then my dad said, okay, fine, you can go and stay with Mama Asha. Now that is my auntie, my mom, my dad's cousin.
Yeah.
Then Mama Asha says, it's okay, you come, you're my daughter. Now that was another journey. I went, first week it was okay, second week. Now towards the end, things started revealing themselves. In the house, they could prepare either meat or chicken, but I would be served with greens.
Really?
Yes. And the house girl, because you see, a house girl cannot do that unless she is informed.
Yes.
She cannot serve everybody else and leave you alone. Then I said, okay, fine. Me, I'm okay. So I could eat greens and I'm just okay. But now you see, I'm still naive. I'm still that baby, not like today. So I could go to the bedroom and cry. I didn't know how to express myself. I didn't know what to say. At some moment, the bathroom could be locked. You've not showered. Cost cutting. There's no water.
That is so wrong. And were you ever tried to be vocal about it to them?
No, I could not speak. You see, you're in somebody's environment, and the way we were raised up, there are things you cannot air out. So the person that I used to talk to was one of my aunties back in Kisumu, and I'll kindly tell Mom I'm suffering. So Mom did not accept, because now my auntie used to give her false information about me. Now here I've begun internship at KNA, KBC in Mombasa. My aunt will tell my mom, like, I'm coming back home late, I'm sleeping with men. And I'm like, Winnie, you've never known a man. You don't even know what that is. So at one point, there's a mama that used to raise me at KBC. She's called Fatima Jumea. She had to photocopy the diary. You see the way we go for the news reporting and everything. There's a diary that you're assigned. Israel, you're going to the courts. Winnie, you're doing blah blah. So she had to make a copy. I take to my aunt as proof of what I'm doing. She still could not believe. Then now my aunt saw that I was winning the war. One day a man comes to the house She introduces me to this man. Okay, the way we are told, if adults are speaking,
Yes.
you're not supposed to be in the room. So me, I walk out and say, no, don't walk out. Actually, this is your guest. And I'm like, okay, my guest. I don't know him. And she says, this is the man I want to introduce to you. I want you to get married to him. And I'm like,
What?
Mama Asha, how, me? At yes, because you guys are poor. You're coming from a background that people are suffering and struggling. And that's the type, I don't know where I got the boldness from. I stood up and told her, not me. Even if we are poor, we do not engage in such activities. If I'm supposed to get married, I get married to somebody that I know, a friend, but not a stranger. And I told her sorry, and I walked out. That was the beginning of hell in that house for me.
And let me ask, when all this was going on, were you ever trying to talk to your mom about it?
My mom was not listening. She wasn't listening. That's why I could access my aunt more than her. Yes. You see, my aunt, she had already poisoned mom. And mom was like, no, that is a lie. So when the thing that now made my mom change her tune is when now my auntie told me, in fact, that is not your dad. You just hear bluffing and calling your dad, saying, oh, this is your dad. That is not your dad. So that's what hit me. And I called my mom and told mom, Mama Asha is telling me 1, 2, 3. Is it true? Who is my dad? And mom was like, what? Now that's when she opened up to me the stories that my aunt Mama Asha was telling her, that I drink alcohol, I sleep around with men. I was like, Winnie, you've never tasted alcohol. Ask anyone around KBC, South Hills, they'll tell you who Winnie is. Ask my friends in church, they'll tell you. So I got a little bit out with my mom. I was like, you have all this information and you keep it yourself. You don't tell me. That's why I'm struggling. So one day I'm sitting for my final exams. Mom had not sent in my fare. My aunt says she didn't have money. Final exams. So me, I'm in the house. I'm like, what do I do? The daughter, now my cousin says, Apana, I have 50 shillings extra. I'll give you, but don't tell mom. You go to school.
So this was your fare to school?
Yes. Mom had not sent in.
Okay.
So my aunt said she didn't have money. We have to wait for mom. So my cousin gives me 50 shillings. And I go to school. When I go to school, my friend at the Polytechnic, she's called Cheptum. She had a phone. I didn't have a phone by then. So I tell her, kindly help me with your phone. We called mom. And I called mom and explained everything to her. She was shocked. That's the time mom said, hey, now it's better you look for a house. You start staying alone. I said, fine. She sent in some money. The people who, my supervisors at KNA said they will get a house for me. They are the people who gave me items to begin the journey with. They bought me mattresses, they gave me a meko, they gave me sufurias. Winnie, you have never lived alone. You don't know where to begin from. So they get me a house in a place in Likoni.
Yes.
Next to my church, FPFK Likoni. So I'm like, will I ever stay here? In the process, my dad passes on. I'm the first to know.
Why?
So I'm looking for a way of talking to mom, informing her that dad has passed on. Because that day, a cousin of mine.
So you were the first one who got the news before mom?
Before mom.
Okay.
Yes. Because a cousin of mine who happened to chair the family meetings was supposed to give us an update on how dad is doing. Then he said dad was unwell, but he'll find out by evening if he was taken to hospital or not. Dad is in the village. So I called, nobody responds. I called, no one responds. That is about 6 p.m. 7, then I'm like, okay, let me go shower and sleep. But before I sleep on that day, I remember it was the 14th of August. Before I sleep, I said, let me call the brother, my dad's brother. He didn't pick, but the wife picked. So Auntie Julia picks, thinking I'm aware of what has happened.
Yeah.
And she tells me, we are even rushing home. We are going to look for a vehicle to transport the body to the morgue. Winnie, you're all alone in a strange town. You don't know who to talk to. I can't tell what happened. And that time, me and my dad, we had already created that bond. Because there are a lot of things we used to talk that even my mom could not. Because there's a way my mom was so harsh on me. I could always just speak to dad. That's where I found my solace. So when dad died, I was lost. I could not trace mom. I had to call one of the matrons where we used to stay in the hospital quarters.
Yes.
She's called Miss Deborah Ojuok. So at least she knew how to handle mom and to break the message. She went and called their fellow colleagues, the doctors and nurses, and she broke the news to mom. Then I think mom traveled home. So when we went to bury dad, I don't know what happened because I never laid a wreath because I collapsed. I woke up after he had been buried. So I normally say that closure, it was never there. So until at some point, I dreaded going back home. So when I went back to Mombasa, I stayed for a while. Then mom again became unwell. I had to drop and stay with mom. My mom stayed in a coma, I think, for about 4 months.
In a coma?
Yes.
What had really happened?
Up to date, I don't know what transpired. We just told she was unwell, I think after dad's demise or something. So I had to stay with her, nursing her. And my sibling, my younger sister was in school, primary. Then my second born sister had just joined college. So I had to step out of internship to come and nurse mom, which I did. Mom got well when a stepbrother of mine again passed on. That's how she came back to life, up to date. She's never been bedridden again. That's how she got healed. So things, fast forward.
And let me ask about your siblings. So, because for you had a really, it seems that you had grown, there's a particular bond with your dad. How about your siblings?
There was that bond, but not that much. Them again, funny enough, them and mom, they have that bond. I think being a firstborn, there's that gap because every mistake was being laid on me.
Yes.
If my siblings will mess, it will come back on me. So I dreaded my mom. There was that fear.
Yes.
But I could relate with dad so well. He was my confidant, actually. And he could advise me on so many things. And I used to be free. And my dad, even if he could get money, he could hide it and he would give me instead of giving mom. So there was that bond.
Yeah.
Dad, if I had an issue, I would rather call dad first. Then there's a way he will break it to mom and I will be supported.
Yeah.
So that went on. I went back to Mombasa. Here I am, no job. I'm done now with schooling.
Yes.
Internship is over. Now you have to go out. Nothing comes in. I'm like, if I go back home, I'm just going to sit. No, I cannot sit. Then, since I did a good service, I was absorbed and I was told, fine, you can volunteer, you can stay. I stayed 4 years volunteering, no job. You know, the way the media market things are.
Yes.
But I thank God, I cannot say I wasted my time. I learned a lot of skills. That's where I learned how to edit stories. I learned how to do scripting. I learned how to produce documentaries and do proposals. And up to date, I always sit and say, I'm proud. Mombasa County, their charter, that was done by me and my teachers, Odongo Wandago and Ayub Mwangi. I'm always proud of that. We did the Mombasa County, the charter, both English and Swahili. We did a lot of work. So to me, the 4 years that I volunteered, I did not waste it. I learned a lot. Then now, fast forward.
And someone might be curious. 4 years volunteering.
Yes.
Of course, there's no salary. How were you managing to pay your bills?
The skills that I learned. Because if I'm scripting, if I'm doing somebody a speech, I will charge like say 10,000 or 5,000, and that's how I will maneuver. Then when we do, I remember the first documentary that I did that paid about 350,000. That one to me was a breakthrough.
Wow.
You know nothing, you're naive, you've gotten this money.
Yes.
I remember my first radio. That's the money that I used to buy my first radio.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
It was not a waste of time. At times it was tough. Then you see, if you could go for news conferences, maybe there's some too small handouts you get.
Yes.
But I did not depend on that. I could sit and get an idea. Like for instance, today I'm talking to Israel. The story that Israel is giving me, I can sit down and produce a documentary for him. And that's how I used to survive. But at times it was tough. You could go hustling, you come back, nyumba imefungwa. When you don't have money, I used to go sleep in church.
Really?
Yes. And my pastor will give out the offering for me to go pay rent. He'll talk to the church board. They'll give me that money, I go pay the church. That's why if somebody tells me I'm wasting time in church, ujui.
So the pastor was collecting the offering and then using it to pay your rent.
Exactly.
Wow.
So I could sit at times and ask myself questions, but I was like, okay, fine, let it be.
96.9 FM, Pearl Radio.